Check 1, 2, 1, 2. Copy, copy here. Got you loud and clear. Green, green, green. Wrong side, wrong side, wrong side.
The Performance Motorsports Network presents Burning Rubber Radio.
Burning rubber, baby.
I know what the tradition is. You don't even have to explain it. And here it is. Burning rubber, baby!
Now, from the White Lightning TV studios in Statesville, North Carolina, here is your host, Andy DeLay.
And it's Burning Rubber Radio time, everybody. Burning Rubber, baby. I'm your host, Andy DeLay, with another of the... Oh, Wayne's over there on camera doing something just totally took my flipping... Oh, my gosh. Anyway.
I love it when I take your focus like, yeah, rock on.
Yeah, no doubt. Anyway, we're the fastest 60 minutes in motorsports. I'm Andy DeLay, your host, alongside, as you heard, Wayne Owens over there. We have got another hour of motorsports talking, NASCAR, IndyCar. I don't think they ran this week, but the Formula One, I think they did. Dubai, or is it?
So there was, I don't think Formula One ran this week in Dubai, but there is some Formula One news, however.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, we got a lot of that stuff coming up this hour. Of course, the NASCAR chef, John Dix, he's going to be with us. Everybody else, all the rest of our co-hosts the last few weeks have been playing hooky. Taylor Burris has been out trying to live life like a normal human being. And
he's been out chasing carts, remember?
He's what?
He's been out chasing carts, remember?
Yeah, kart chasing, doing all that. And where's Zach been? Zachary Mertez.
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to dock his pay, Andy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that, and of course Bobby Dale Earnhardt. He's with us when he can be. If not, he's out trying to get his son Brylan's racing going. So we got all of that going. But anyway, man, we got news of the week. We've got all kinds of good stuff this week. I don't think we have a guest, do we?
No, we do not have a guest for this week. I was trying to talk with John yesterday, who was actually out at Talladega this past weekend, and I was trying to see if he could get us Kevin Harvick. But after what I saw in post-race inspection, I don't know that Kevin would probably be good company for a lot of folks right now.
His nickname is Happy, and I don't think he was too happy after what went down after that race Sunday.
No, he was not. And that, and then I seen something too with Denny Hamlin. Somebody called him out on Twitter. It's like, yeah, I think that Denny Hamlin caused that final wreck. And
you wasn't anywhere near that final wreck.
Right, exactly. Well, the thing I got the laugh out of, and this is the one time I laughed at something Denny Hamlin has said, is he slapped back and like, sir, I'm calling to confirm your appointment with our optometrist for tomorrow because clearly you're blind.
Very, very blind. That was all Riley Herbst and everyone else. I guess it was Corey LaJoie that got into Riley Herbst. I don't know.
It's something along those lines. I know Corey was running up top. Riley was running up top. But again, it's Talladega. Anything and everything can and will happen at that speedway. And God knows what was it. They were running 4 abreast for the better part of 20 laps yesterday. And I'm like, good God, somebody's going to die.
Yeah, no doubt. Anyway, man, what else we got other than the NASCAR chef?
So other than the NASCAR chef, I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of Taylor this week. I think he's I think he is back. I think he's back around the area where we can get him in and get a quick update on the iRacers download because eNASCAR, the Coca-Cola iRacing Series, actually just crowned their champion for 2023 this past week.
We need to get who did it. Do you know who won?
I forget who it is. I
don't know. I know that my buddy Ray Alfala, who won several championships in that he went on the road to pro to try to get back in it, and I guess he's back in it. I don't know. Man, Taylor can tell us all that stuff.
Yeah, Taylor can fill us in on all that good stuff here. But with that said here, folks, speaking of news and all the other fun stuff, we're going to take our first foreign fuel of the show, and when we come back, Andy, we have got that news of the week coming up for you.
Want to maximize your driving potential? Drive Refine is the driver optimization program for you. Led by NASCAR winning driver Joey Coulter. No matter if you race locally, nationally, or on a simulator, with a little or a lot of experience, Drive Refine focuses on your tuning scale to optimize communication between the driver and their crew chief. Visit driverefine.com for more information today.
Hey, this is former NASCAR driver Joey Coulter. This isn't your typical driver coaching. This is Drive Refine.
Burning Rubber Radio is social. Like the show at facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Follow on Twitter at twitter.com/BRR_PMN. And on Instagram at instagram.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio on all of the wonderful radio affiliates across the USA, the world, Roku, Fire Stick via wingding.tv, you name it, we are around somewhere, that is for sure. Wayne Owens, Andy DeLay hanging out with you again this week here. Time for a little bit of news of the week. And Andy, as we talked about in the open of the show here, NASCAR Cup Series ran this past weekend. We kind of hinted at it at Talladega here. The first thing we got to get off the plate, aside from Kevin Harvick and Ryan Blaney fighting for the win, which, by the way, Blaney at the line. Now, again, this shows you how close of a race this was. Only got the win by 1/100th of a second yesterday.
Man, I'm sure that just started Harvick's bad day.
Uh-huh.
And it only got worse from there.
And it only got worse from there because later on during post-race tech inspection, NASCAR officially announced that Kevin Harvick had been, are you ready for this one? Disqualified due to the fact that his window fastener was not completely set in place during the race. Now the question is, now you can bash on NASCAR if you want to. You can call either way on this one here, but now I have to wonder, how can they say that they know for a fact it was undone during the entire race? Was there an official literally standing there like, hey, by the way, that window fastener looks unsealed?
Well, my thing is a window fastener. I mean, did it make a difference?
I don't think so. I really don't.
Did it make him faster? I don't think so.
No, because that wind's going to add more drag to the car than anything.
I'm thinking so. I don't know. I think if folks are cheating and trying to make their cars, go faster than they should, oh yeah, disqualify them.
Right.
But a window fastener, in my head, it's kind of like, you need to show me that really affected the performance of the car to the extent that it helped put Harvick up front. I just don't agree with that.
I don't either, and because you actually said the same thing I was saying yesterday when I saw the message pop up from Bob Pockrass on X where he was talking about Harvick's disqualification. I'm thinking, okay, with where this window, with where these fasteners are supposedly lined out throughout the windshield of the car, if even just one was off where it wasn't completely sealed like it was supposed to be, at that point in time, that's not going to create a performance enhancement. That's going to be more like a performance degradation because, again, like we were just mentioning, the wind drag, when you get that drag that's coming across that car, if that window fastener is unsealed, especially like say if it's on the lower left side, like right over here driver's side, then at that point that wind, okay, it might come in and it might cool Harvick off, but other than that, it's not going to make him any faster. It's actually going to slow the car down.
That's what I would think. And if it's coming in to cool Harvick off, that's creating drag.
Exactly. And that drag,
I don't know.
And that now the drag now granted, to the alternative, drag in a way can increase the downforce of a car, but in the same right, I still don't think that that's going to add any beneficial speed.
No, not at all. But hey, I'm gonna see what NASCAR has to say about this. And then you're going to have the folks saying, "Oh, you see, it's like NASCAR's WWE here. They're messing with the outcome of races and whatever." I don't want to hear that either. I think that's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, granted, to a degree, NASCAR has a quote unquote show and blow like WWE does with storylines and things like that, but not to that extent.
No.
And,
go ahead. No, I don't think that NASCAR does that, and I think that NASCAR's inconsistent as hell. That is one thing for sure. they like to change the rules as things go and that. But as far as trying to manipulate the outcome of a race,
I don't see that happening.
Now, I've seen NASCAR throw bogus yellows in the past, trying to bunch the cars back up and all that stuff. And folks say, well, there you go. That's that they're manipulating the outcome. I think they're actually just trying to make the race more entertaining to keep folks tuned in, not so much as manipulating the outcome of an event.
Kind of like what SRX does with their fun flags.
Yeah, there you go. At least SRX is up front with it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they openly call it a fun flag.
Yeah, it's getting kind of boring. Let's bunch them back up. Fun flag.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, hey, we all know how Bubba Wallace did yesterday. So I mean, now granted, when he was running up front like he was, I could have seen if they would have done it there. At that point, be like, hey, bunch him up, give Bubba a little bit more, push. But Bubba still comes home 24th, which I knew was going to happen.
Yeah, he's never been really fast at super speedways anyway.
No, if it wasn't for the draft, that most of those guys wouldn't go anywhere.
No, not at all.
So, but moving on over here now to the Craftsman Truck Series, and man, what a barn burner of a race that Truck Series race was this past weekend at Talladega. Brett Moffitt takes home the dub on that one. However, have you heard about the Matt Craft and Nick Sanchez fight?
I don't know if you'd call it a fight. I'd take it to Matt Craft and dotted Nick Sanchez's eye or his nose or something after Sanchez decided to run his mouth.
Yeah, so, and the video that made its way across social media, it didn't catch the whole incident, but from what I gather in the video that I saw on X over this past weekend, is that, Crafton had come up and was like, hey, look, dude, problem, blah, 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 blah. Sanchez turns around, and from what I understood from Crafton's point of view, literally Sanchez turns around and goes and tries to pop him, and Crafton's like, oh, hell no, I ain't taking this from you, and dots him in the nose, like you said, but actually broke his nose. And in the same right, the video that and I think I've got the video here. If not, it's on Front Stretch's X page here. Actually, come to think of it, okay, I don't have the video queued up like I thought I did. But if you go look at Front Stretch's Twitter page or X page, you'll actually see the post-fight video that shows Sanchez. Actually, now this goes to show you how heated it got. Sanchez literally spoke up and said, "I'm going to kill you at Homestead."
Yeah. He was all, he done got walloped.
Yeah.
And so he was mad. And, there's a couple of things here, folks. Everyone hears that iRacing, all these kids coming up into the series are all iRacers. They didn't learn their craft out on the track as much as they did behind the screen of a computer.
Right.
I get that. And I'm an iRacer and I love it. And I agree. That's happening. But there's one thing that iRacing doesn't teach you, Wayne, and that is you need to shut your mouth when you're talking to the veterans, because an old school guy's going to put his fist in your mouth. Yeah. And that's pretty much what happened.
Exactly. And because Crafton is a wily veteran. He's been around for pretty much about the entire time the Truck Series has been around, which has been every bit of now. Let's see, it was formed in 1998, so we're looking at 2020.
95.
Or 95, okay. So we're looking at just shy of 30 years that the Truck Series has been around. And, Crafton's been around at least for 25 of those 30 years.
All day long, yeah.
And so, I mean, he's not going to put up with anybody's BS. And so, yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, Sanchez got what was coming to him.
He did, but I'm sure NASCAR is going to step in. And most folks that are hearing this by now, like on a Tan Talk network, it's already been released. NASCAR would have already fined or suspended Crafton for what happened. But hey, try doing that to Johnny Sauter.
That or if you get his brother, the Onion, out there, he's going to be like, what?
Yeah, no, some of these old guys will not put up with it.
By the way, folks, we forgot to mention our sponsors, too, this week. Andy Luack Coffee Energy here, as well as Monster 3X Concept Lures. Make sure you check them out at monster3xusa.com. And with that said here, Andy, we're going to step aside. We're going to take that next LUAC Energy 4 and fuel. You know what? I like that. LUAC Energy recharging us for a 4 and fuel. I like that idea, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool, man.
All right. Well, with that said here, folks, that we're going to make it an official thing here. We're going to take our next LUAC Energy 4 and fuel, and when we come back, we've got some discussion in regards to Formula One and Andretti's, Andy.
I'm Captain Jeff Figures from Florida Fishing and Adventures. Do you want to constantly catch more fish, spend less time changing baits? If so, Monster 3X baits, jigs, and scents are the answer. Monster 3X baits are tough, durable, and resistant, which allows you to catch more fish per bait. The combination of the Monster 3X lure with the Pro-Cure Baits Super Scent, you will be landing more fish right away. Whether it's the Monster 3X Ultra Soft or the X Swim lures, swim shad, paddle tails, crawfish, or the X Frog. Monster 3X, you'll always find it in my tackle box.
Visit our website at burningrubberradio.com for recipes from the NASCAR chef, John Dix, and more great content. Now back to more Burning Rubber Radio.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio. And Andy, it's that time of the show here, bub, where we get into a little, normally it would be a guest segment, but I'll tell you what, we're gonna have a little explanation time here, so to speak, when it comes to things that are going on in the world of motorsports news and just everything going on around the motorsports world. And that being one Michael Andretti. Michael Andretti, I tell you what, the Andretti clan as a whole are motorsports gods,
Of course.
And Michael is about to add are you ready for this one? I
haven't heard, so I'm all ears.
So Michael is about to add an F1 team to his resume as far as things he's done, things he's owned, and other things like that. And it was officially announced on Monday that Michael Andretti's dream of owning a Formula One team has moved one step closer to reality when the FIA approved his bid for an 11th team in the Formula One World Championship.
Folks, that leaves me kind of speechless because there is tons and tons and tons of money that goes into F1. NASCAR is get out of here as far as the money that's spent in NASCAR when it comes to F1. This is, out of all of sports, even soccer throughout the world, they do not throw as much money at their sport as Formula One teams do.
Nope.
It's crazy. Now, where is he getting funding for that?
So that is a great question that it actually doesn't mention here. But now something else to note as far as the point here, because I think what Andretti is trying to do, he's trying to get himself a 2-car team. So it would take the field from where it is at now with 20 cars up to 22 cars. However, the FIA's decision does not guarantee Michael will get a 2-car team, and Andretti Global and partner Cadillac, who will be the manufacturer, must still prove their commercial value to the F1 rights holder, Liberty Media Group. Now, I'm thinking about that for a minute when I was reading that earlier today before we got on the air here, and I'm thinking Cadillac having to prove their commercial value? Last I checked, Cadillac was one of the highest selling luxury vehicles in the world.
Yeah, which means all that FIA is just lawyer speak for. We want to make sure that GM, this is the answer to my question. It sounds like it's going to be GM money that they're going to pony up the mega million and millions, probably close to $1 billion it's going to take to do this thing.
Easy.
But I see GM doing it because they've been messing around with European racing all the time, but on a grand scale, like they just ran this spring over there, the 24 hours of Le Mans.
Yep.
And now I could see them trying to get involved in F1, but man, they're going to have to throw a huge wad of money at this.
A huge wad of money is an understatement because, like you said, probably something close to $1 billion to get everything
Easily
situated here. But another bit of note here too, and this is what makes things interesting. is that, Michael's been trying to do this now as far as getting a Formula One team for 3 years. So, I mean, yeah, he tried when COVID was a thing. And obviously, as we know, didn't get very far because the pandemic pretty much had everything shut down. But now here's another thing of note, too, is that in that 3-year journey that he's been trying to do this and get an F1 team, did you know that Mario actually was an F1 world champion back in 78?
I did. Yeah, I know Mario he's been a winner and a champion in all kinds of motorsports, including NASCAR.
Mm-hmm. So I've got a feeling that's probably why Michael is really making the push to get this Formula One team going. Either give himself a chance to, possibly contend for a Formula One championship himself and be like his dad, or give somebody else the not the ire. What's the word I'm looking for? The je ne sais quoi of working with an Andretti to get a Formula One title. Maybe I don't know. Maybe a Lewis Hamilton, since Mercedes seems to be faltering.
Yeah, there you go. Who knows what it could be? But Chevrolet is using their head, if this is their strategy, and using the Andretti name, and and teaming that with the Chevrolet's money. And I'm kind of curious to see how this plays out.
I'm very curious to see how it plays out as well, too, because, again, it's been 3 years that Michael's been trying to make this happen. And, he's finally now making a little bit of headway here. And now, based on something else that I'm reading here along with this article here, is that the FIA's president, and what was his name here? Mohammed bin Salame, or Salame.
Oh my gosh! I'm like,
yep,
okay.
Now I've pulled an Andy again. Mohammed bin Salayem has been a major supporter of Andretti, which is a good thing. I mean, as long as he's got at least a little bit of backing from somebody in the FIA, that helps a little bit here. But like you said, it would also add General Motors and Cadillac to the Formula One for the first time in the automaker's history. So GM and Cadillac, I did not know that until just now, reading this over, is that GM had never been involved in Formula One, not even back in the day with old school Chevrolets.
I didn't know, but now I can see it's all coming together. My question's answered here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and Salayem indicated the process for new teams that join everything with F1 and Formula and the FIA, which also attracted further commitment from Audi as well, Honda and Ford, and interest in now you ready for this one here? Including interest from Porsche possibly joining Formula One.
Wow.
So
really?
So this thing's getting massive now. You've already got Mercedes, you've already got Red Bull, you've already got Honda, you've already got Audi that's in there, you've already got Ford doing some stuff when it comes to Formula One, and now you're looking at adding General Motors. You're looking at adding Cadillac, which is a subsidiary of General Motors. Looking at possibly adding Porsche, and I mean, God knows, the sky's the limit at this point. Then,
yeah, it really is, and I can see Porsche, which I do believe isn't Audi and Porsche, aren't they?
I think they're subsidiaries of their main brand, which is an offshoot of Ferrari or McLaren or something like that.
I don't know, man. I'm sure we're going to be being bashed on social media if we're wrong. These idiots don't know what they're talking about. Well, half the time we do, and half the time we don't.
Hey, I look at it this way: we could research all we want day and night, have the data set that we want to have day and night, and even somewhere else still be wrong in somebody's mind. So you know what? Here's to you if you're watching online.
Watching on Wingding. We just gave you a salute. Boink!
But the other interesting part, speaking of those manufacturers too, Andy, is that the FIA received 7 different applicants in the first phase. 5 of those went through to the second round, which required, now here's where the money comes into play, a $300,000 fee and a deep dive by Formula One's governance body, and only 4 of those 5 applicants completed that entire process. Andretti with engines that would be General Motors as well, and badged under the Cadillac banner. was deemed to be the only worthy applicant out of those extra 7 applications that they received.
I like how they say they'll dive into things, which means basically you better hand your books over. They're going to go through your bank account and see how deep it is. And that's the truth, I guarantee it.
Pretty much. They'll be like, okay, 10, 20, 30, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you're good.
And then they had to write a $300,000 check just to let them take a look at their books. That's what I'm saying, folks. F1 is all 100% about money. If you think,
cheese.
any racing, you got to have money to go fast. We all know that. But the thing is the F1, you have to have money to go fast. But that's after having all the money in the world just to get into the race, to get your car in the thing. So
right, and further into the money point here too, and this is where this gets really good. Applicants had to meet FIA's sporting, technical, and are you ready for this one? Financial requirements to be recommended as a future team. And our objective, and this coming from Salim, the president of Formula One, is our objective after rigorous due diligence during the application phase. And the more we talk about this, it's like, the due diligence of checking the bank account was to only approve prospective entries which satisfied the set criteria and illustrated that they would add value to the sport.
At least they're upfront about things, and they use nice, pretty words in order to say, we checked your bank balance, and it looks like that you guys can afford to do this.
Right, exactly. And then one final piece to go along with that on this same article here is that many of the existing teams have been publicly against expanding the grid for anyone, even an American with the General Motors branding. And Formula One this year will have 3 races in the U.S., 5 in North America, and has targeted a new sponsorship market anyway by tapping into the American popularity of European racing. But now going back to the money piece, Red Bull and Mercedes have argued that they have invested too much. You ready for this one? Too much, Andy, into Formula One for someone to buy their way into the series, and there is a required, man, I didn't realize it was that high, $200 million anti-dilution fee for any new entrant, but the teams have argued expansion takes away from their financial cut.
Of course they were going to say, these boys are they're in an exclusive club here. They don't want anyone to join. They want to take all of the spoils for themselves. They don't want to cut anybody else into it. But hey, listen, and the FIA is going to say, if these guys got the deep pockets and they're willing to pay all of this stupid upfront money just to let us consider, we're going to consider, baby.
Yep, exactly. And again, it goes back to the numbers that we just mentioned a little bit ago here. $300,000 to have them just to even look at your application. And then on top of that, you're talking $200 million as an anti-dilution fee so the field doesn't get diluted as far as mired in with multiple manufacturers, multiple this, multiple that. But still, you're talking about $50 million short of $250 million to get invested in this series.
And that's just to be considered.
Yeah.
That doesn't talking about building the team, getting the tech going through all the hoops and hurdles you got to meet the Formula One, because that's what it is, folks. They put out a formula, they call it the Formula One, that the teams have to meet in order to compete. So, this is crazy and funny at that. I've heard of service fees. Talking about a service fee, an anti-dilution fee, that is a service fee if I've ever heard of it.
Right. And you know what? The more I was thinking about it, I know some of our listeners don't like it, but that right there, that I think earns a double Muttley.
Might as well Muttley that one, brother. I know you love that stupid thing.
Folks, I know you're probably listening. You're like, oh, not the Muttley again. But this is one of those times where, honestly, I feel like it deserves a Muttley because that's just embarrassingly funny.
It is funny. At least they're nice, and they use a lot of wine and cheese words with it. All your delusion fees and all this, that, and the other is like, hey, I'll meet you at I'll meet you at your place and guide your armored car to our bank. Your fleet of armored cars to my bank.
Right, exactly. And then again, a $200 million anti-dilution fee, $300,000 fee to check your books, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh my God, we could go on and on with something like that. I mean, I wish Michael Andretti well. I do, but I've got a feeling by the time it's all said and done, unless he's got at least $5 or $6 billion hiding in the bank, he's not going to get as far as he wants.
The more that we've dove, I was wondering, where's he getting it? He isn't. It's being bankrolled by GM.
No, that's true too. But the interesting thing is, though, is the GM from a financial perspective, and now granted, I'm deep diving a little bit further in here. You go all the way back to 2008 and 2009 when we had the financial bailouts here in the U.S. GM and Chevrolet were one of the companies that, if I remember correctly, didn't take any of the bailouts either. So
I thought it was just Ford.
Yeah, it was just Ford way back in the day. So Ford and some of the other manufacturers here in the States took some of the bailouts, but GM, Chevy.
No, Ford didn't take a cent of a bailout.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, Ford was the one that did take it because they are now
negative, sir. Oh, where's the gong? Do you have the gong on there?
Yeah, I don't have the gong yet. I need to get it.
Yeah, you do. No, Ford is the only American manufacturer that did not take any of the money from the.
I just thought about that. Yeah, Ford was the only one that didn't. GM and Chevrolet took the bailout.
Tons of money.
So at that point, now we have to go all the way back to looking at that. Now you're talking about government money being tied in to Formula One now.
Oh, that's a stretch.
So, I mean, hey, it's a stretch, but, it's something worth at least looking into and investing and seeing where the time goes. But, well,
all right, folks, if you have anything to say about that, go to our Facebook page and blast Wayne, please.
Hey,
Burning Rubber Radio on Facebook.
They blast me all the time, and I just say, hey, what's up? I'm okay with it. But with that said here, folks, we've got to take another LUAC Energy 4 and Fuel, and when we come back here, Andy, we have, you smell that? It's time for the chef.
Yep, he cleared out the bathroom, right?
No, it's time for the NASCAR chef.
Oh, he's got the grill going. Now I smell. Open the door, man.
NASCAR chef John Dix when we come back.
Want to maximize your driving potential? Drive Refine is the driver optimization program for you. Led by NASCAR winning driver Joey Coulter. No matter if you race locally, nationally, or on a simulator, with a little or a lot of experience, Drive Refine focuses on your tuning scale to optimize communication between the driver and their crew chief. Visit driverefine.com for more information today.
Hey, this is former NASCAR driver Joey Coulter. This isn't your typical driver coaching. This is Drive Refine.
This is Burning Rubber Radio. Now let's get cooking in the kitchen with the NASCAR chef, John Dix.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio. And Andy, it is that time of the show, my friend, where you smell that?
Yeah, buddy, it's time to eat.
Yeah, it is time to eat. And this week, the NASCAR chef, John Dix, has got something a little bit interesting on two sides of the coin here, Andy. Both sides of the coin this week here. Not only does he have a killer recipe, but John, you're just now getting back from Talladega.
Yes, sir, guys. We had a good time up there hanging out with a bunch of the truck drivers. A lot of the Burning Rubber Radio family up there, Daniel Dye and Ty Majeski and Christensen and a bunch of them were up there Saturday. And also hang out with Zippy and some of the Stuart Haas guys Saturday and Sunday.
How is Zippy doing nowadays?
Zippy's doing good. I asked him if Fedewa was going to stay with the 4-car next year, and he said he's probably going to come back. And I talked to our buddy Cheddar, and he said he's planning on staying too if they're going to keep him. Of course, after yesterday, I'm not sure if they will or not.
And folks, if you're wondering what we're talking about, if you're just now joining us here partway through the show, We mentioned this in our earlier News of the Week segment where Kevin Harvick's car was disqualified for a window fastener supposedly not being tight on his race car after a second-place finish at Talladega on Sunday. And John, you've been around the NASCAR industry, longer than myself and Andy have. And so you've never done anything from the engineering side, but you've seen the cars up close and personal. Those window fasteners, one little fastener being secure or insecure or unsecured is not going to create enough speed to give somebody a win or an advantage. Wouldn't you think?
Well, you're right, Wayne. I don't think that gave it an advantage, but according to the rule book, every kind of fastener, tightener, everything has to be 100% tightened from the beginning of the race to the end of the race. So unfortunately,
but here's the
right
thing: how
whether
can
we like it or not,
But how can they prove it was undone the entire race? I mean, why would they not have caught that in pre-race tech?
No, well, what I'm saying is it has to be done the whole race. So if they catch it before or after, is what I'm saying. My thinking is it probably just vibrated loose, during the race,
Yeah.
but. I think they're supposed to put a lock washer on there. I know our buddy Cheddar is the car chief. He probably got chewed out this morning, and I'm sure he chewed out the individual that was part of that. I don't know if anybody's ever seen these cars up close right before the race, but all over the car are checklists that tape to the car for each different section, and they're supposed to check everything off and make sure it's good. And, there's so many moving parts on that car, literally, that I don't know. I don't have an explanation for it. It is what it is. I feel for Kevin and that team. They ran real well, and they were optimistic about it. I talked to Cheddar Friday, and he said they had no idea because they don't let them practice anymore. So, it is what it is, guys.
Yep.
Hey, John, were you there to see Kevin's reaction or anything?
No, Andy, they do that way after the race.
Okay.
They're there for several hours. From my understanding, unless they change it, they take the top 5 cars and take them into inspection, and then they pick 5 cars randomly after that. And, unfortunately or fortunately, the winner's there for about 4 or 5 hours after the race because they go through that car like, no tomorrow. But, no, I wasn't there, Andy. We had already left when the race was over with. And I heard about it yesterday evening, like everybody else.
Man, that's crazy. Well, on that note here, actually, speaking of which, Sean, that's somebody we need to get back on the show. We need to get old Cheddar back here to talk. I
want Greg Zippindelli on the show.
That'd be fun too. Oh, actually, speaking of that, I actually have news on another guest we're going to have coming up here in a couple weeks, but we'll talk about that later on. But yeah, Zippy would be fun. You know what? That was one other thing, John. Did you get a chance to ask old Zippy about cooking for Smoke and SRX?
Well, I did, Wayne. We discussed it Saturday. He said that he would bring it up to Tony, but he said Tony really and truly, people don't understand this, he doesn't have a lot to do with the daily interactions of the program. They basically just use his name. He just races and they use his name.
Right.
But he said he would bring it up to him. We sat out in front of the hauler for about 30 minutes and talked, and he kind of liked the idea. But, we just have to see where it goes from there.
I mean, it's kind of hard not to like the idea. I mean, after all, you are master chef, so.
Well, you've been cooking for the team off and on for a decade. So.
Right.
It ain't like you just walking up saying, "Hey, I want to cook for SRX."
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, speaking of,
I would have liked to got a hold of my buddy Elton Sawyer, who's in charge of the competition part of NASCAR. He's probably the one who actually gave Kevin the penalty, because that's what he does. He hangs around the inspection area before the race, and then during the race he goes up in the tower. I was able to catch him between the inspections and the tower just to say hi, and I literally grew up with his wife Patty Moise, and Elton and I worked together over a decade ago on the Red Bull program.
That's pretty cool. That's some really good stuff, man.
I see you also got to sit down and talk to Donnie Allison some.
Huh.
Yeah, Donnie was there, and Red wasn't there. But speaking of that, guys, I did talk to our our buddy Luke Hoffman.
Nice.
And I want to get Luke back on the show. Luke just got his 200 feature win.
Wow.
And he won a championship. So he wants to we hung out with him and Red Palmer's daughter, Bonnie, in the Big Bill garage for a little while when it was kind of hot. Had to get out of the sun. And Red wants to Luke's son has been racing and doing real well. And they want to both get on the show at the same time, so I'll get them scheduled up, and we'll have them. So.
And you know what, Andy? That makes 3 now that have gotten championships with that shout.
That's right. Burning Rubber Baby's won 3 championships so far. That's awesome.
Good stuff, man. I'll tell you, we are slowly becoming grassroots kings with that shout. You know what? And,
I guess you could say that. Yeah, that's for sure. Also, folks, before we get into the NASCAR Chef's recipe for the week, NASCAR Chef John Dix will be joining us on video, too, folks, that watch us on wingding.tv, on Roku and Fire Stick. You'll be able to see the NASCAR Chef right on here on TV with us. That's going to be fun.
Yep, and John's making the necessary steps to get set up for that, because he was with us on video for a while, but then for whatever reason, I don't know how he managed to do this. He managed to break the studio, and I haven't been able to get back down to Alabama to fix it. So we won't go into all that fun, will we, John? But with that said, here, folks, we do actually need to get over to the recipe for the week here, John. And this week, I feel like I saw something with pumpkin, since we're in the month of October now. Am I right?
Yeah, Wayne, we're going to do a pumpkin cheesecake.
Whoa!
Oh yeah.
Boy, this is killing my diet, John, but hit me with it.
Mine too, Wayne, but we're going to start with 24 ginger snaps. This is for the crust now, guys. A half a cup of pecan pieces. All right, for the filling, we're going to have 8 ounces of cream cheese, 1 cup of sugar, 15 ounces of canned pumpkin, not the pie filling, but there's a difference what they call canned pumpkin. All right, 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 4 eggs beaten, and for the topping, we're going to use 2 tablespoons of honey and a half a cup of pecans. Now, guys, you're going to preheat your oven to 325. All right, we're going to use the pulsing action on a food processor to process the ginger snaps and the pecans. Then press them evenly in the bottom of a 9-inch pan. For the filling, we're going to mix the cream cheese and the sugar in a bowl, and then in a blender, you want to blend the pumpkin, the spices, and the vanilla, and then add 1 egg at a time until it's all mixed together. You're going to take this whole mixture and pour it over the crust and bake it for about an hour and a half at 325. Remember, you had your oven preheated at 325. Once it comes out, you want to refrigerate it for about 4 hours.
Okay.
Now, for the topping of this, in a skillet on low heat, you want to cook the honey and the remaining pecans. Now stir it often so it doesn't stick. Then you want to spread the mixture on a baking sheet covered with cooking spray and use a fork to separate the pecans. Sprinkle them, let them cool, and then sprinkle them on top of the cheesecake. And it's ready to go, guys, and it's good.
Oh, man, that's killing my diet, but I love it so.
I do have a question. This one's for Wayne. For all those folks watching on wingding.tv, you can go over and you can look at the recipe. It's up there. And if you're listening to this, of course, this isn't live if you're listening to us. You can go over there now, wingding.tv, go to the Burning Rubber Radio channel, and you can check out the show and fast forward to this. But Wayne, my question, is that a plate of tater tots?
I think so. The graphic has been acting real weird the last few weeks.
I'm sitting here salivating over this cheesecake. I look up and I'm like, wait a second, that's a plate of tater tots that's on our graphic.
Yeah, for whatever reason, my graphics have been acting a little weird these last few weeks. So I've had to stick with a default graphic from about a month ago.
I'm sorry, John.
Well, that's all right. I think, in all truthness, I think I forgot to send Wayne a picture, so he probably just grabbed whatever he had up there.
I mean, that
a tray of tater tots.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Speaking of other things, John, pumpkin themed here for a minute before we get ready to take our final LUAC Energy 4 and fuel of the show here, is that I seen another one of those recipes that I was telling you about. This one being a pumpkin pie oatmeal for breakfast.
Ooh, that sounds good. I like anything pumpkin.
I mean,
anything pumpkin's good.
And the best part is it's healthy too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It'll be healthy enough that 20 minutes later, run to the bathroom.
That's
there
the
you
truth.
go.
Those pumpkin seeds I was eating last week had me sitting in the crapper. I'm
Good God, Andy.
still sweating off of that thing, man.
Well, that's what you get for adding that jalapeno sauce to it. Folks, if you're wondering why we talk about this the way we do, we have so much fun on this show. We rag on one another left and right, both on and off the air.
Oh, yeah.
And God knows I've sent my fair share of memes to Andy that literally was like, here's your jalapeno toilet paper to avoid the...
Oh, my Lord, yeah, so... We talk a lot of stupidness and a little bit of racing.
Yep, but hey, you know what? As long as folks are laughing and having fun, we are motorsports comedy. That's the best way to describe us.
I guess. Yeah, you're funny looking, way. So yeah. I'm glad that we're only on Wingding when you keep giving me that salute. Folks over here. Scene with that finger.
Yeah, all right, exactly. Well, with that said here, folks, take one last good look at John's recipe for the week here: pumpkin cheesecake. If you need a good diet breaker like I do, go ahead and get a hold of that pumpkin cheesecake. I'm sure it'll be something good to have in the long term of things here, John. But we can't let you leave with it. But actually, before we get to that point here, folks, if you ever want to get a hold of this recipe or other recipes, make sure you reach out to the NASCAR Chef. That's Racing to the Grill, RACING, the number 2, thegrill@gmail.com. Or you can get a hold of us on social media and ask for the NASCAR Chef directly, and we can get you in touch with them. Then, John, we can't let you leave the segment without those 3 famous words, brother.
Burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber.
Burning rubber, baby.
All right. With that said here, folks, again, take one last good look at the recipe on screen here. We're going to step aside. We're going to take our final LUAC Energy 4 and fuel. And when we come back, some final news of the week, including some Jeb Burton news, Andy.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Burning Rubber Radio is social. Like the show at Facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Follow on Twitter at Twitter.com/BRR_PMN. And on Instagram at Instagram.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio. And Andy, it's that time of the show here, buddy. Now that we've had our final LUAC Energy 4 and fuel and we're recharged up and ready to rock and roll here, some final news of the week and news we've got for you. And that being that, and of course, we know coming to the end of the NASCAR season, because as of this week with the Charlotte Roval, we're halfway through the playoffs.
Yeah, we are. It's going to be the last race of the round of 12.
Yep.
This week at the Checkers, we'll set the field for the round of 8.
Yep, we'll set the field for the round of 8. And, of course, Ryan Blaney has already locked his way in, as we know from the win this past weekend at Talladega. So, moving on in, 4 more races to go. Or, excuse me, no. 4. Yeah, it is 4 races because you got your 3 races in the round of 8, and then you got the championship 4 finale.
Correct. Yes.
Man, but wow, time flies when you're having fun.
November 5th, it's all done.
Yep, November 5th, going to be all said and done in Phoenix. So we'll see who we crown as 2023 NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity and Craftsman Truck Series champions here in the next couple of weeks here. But speaking of news and everything, schedule's getting ready to be released. We talked about it last week where Bristol Dirt's not going to be coming back. We know that the Brickyard actually has also been confirmed as coming back for 2023, so I'm looking forward to that one. And rumor has it, now I haven't seen confirmation on it yet, that the Charlotte Roval is going away as well.
I heard that. I heard the Charlotte Roval's done. I wonder what they're bringing in its place.
That'll be interesting to see, because one thing with the Charlotte schedule, whenever it's been on there for 2 races, it's always had the oval on both times. So maybe they're going to go back to the oval configuration for both races.
I know that. And I've heard also that COTA, the Circuit of the Americas, will be the kickoff race next year. This is all just speculation and BS right now. But
wait. The kickoff race to the playoffs or the kickoff race to the 2024 season?
No, the Daytona 500's that. I'm talking about the Circuit of the Americas will be the kickoff race for the playoffs.
That would be interesting, because then you'd go from road course to super speedway to road course. If they keep Watkins Glen, Daytona, and then go to COTA.
No, yeah. I think it would, something like that, right?
Yeah, because the last 2 races, the last couple of years in the playoffs have been Watkins Glen and then Daytona, and then they go right into the playoff race at Darlington, typically for the Southern 500. So if they end up putting COTA there in that place, then the question then becomes, okay, when are we going to do the Southern 500?
I don't know. Good question. I can't wait to see the schedule.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what 2024 has in play as far as the NASCAR schedule. But other news that has come up now here as far as re-signs for 2024, Harrison Burton has been confirmed. He'll be with Wood Brothers again next year, Andy.
All right. No, he didn't. He's done nothing with Wood Brothers, and I bear to say that he will continue to do absolutely nothing with them.
Yeah, and I mean, Wood Brothers, as we talked about this with Matty D, a couple weeks ago when after he was released from Rackley War, is that back in his time with the Wood Brothers, they're just a training team nowadays. They're not the big team that they used to be 30 years ago.
No, not at all. They're a Roush subsidiary or whatever they want to call it. Yeah, I don't see the Wood Brothers. So what are those? Last thing they won is with Trevor Bayne, the Daytona 500, I think.
Yep, and that dates all the way back to, if I remember right, 2013, I think.
Come on, folks, bash us on social media and tell us when it was, because I'm 12, 13, or 11, one of those 3 years.
Yeah, it was one of those 3 years. And so, yeah, I mean, Wood Brothers, they're not on their game like they used to be. And then, of course, with GMS Racing shutting down as well at the end of the year. And then, and this is another one, and we were talking about this a little bit too. I didn't know if there was confirmation out on it yet that Kyle Busch Motorsports was getting sold as well.
Confirmation, that's old news. Spire Motorsports bought them.
So then that did happen last week then. So and again, folks, what we're talking about here last week is that there was rumor going around that Spire Motorsports was going to be acquiring KBM for 2024, and this happened after we taped the show last week. And so that is news that has come forward into the light for this week, is that Spire Motorsports is now officially the owners of Kyle Busch Motorsports.
Now, the Mighty 51 of Kyle Busch is going bye-bye, which stinks. That was my favorite truck, the most cheated up stock car in the world. He beat everyone to a pulp in that thing. The good news is Kyle's not going away. He also has said that you can expect to see him back in the truck series.
Yep. But now the question is he still going to be running that Mighty number 51 under the Spire banner, or is he going to go somewhere, maybe say with Richard Childress' truck?
The last Richard Childress truck that was run is by our buddy Joey Coulter, the 22 truck, if you remember that, when he won at Pocono. And I don't think they've been messing around with trucks since then.
I don't think they have, but then again, you never know what's going on over in Welcome, North Carolina. They might have something that we don't know about.
Yeah.
So time will tell for sure. And with that, it's time that we get moved on over here to picks for the week here, Andy. And this week, as we talked about at the opening of the segment here, the Charlotte Roval coming up here. And, it's been interesting the last few years because the guy who's been the most dominant at the Charlotte Roval in the Xfinity Series is now a full-time Cup Series guy. So the question is, who is your pick, sir?
Ross Chastain, without a doubt.
All right, so you're going to go with Chastain, who did not have the greatest of days this past weekend at Talladega. If I had to pick anybody, I am going to go with the GOAT of the Charlotte Roval, and I'm going to take Kaulig Racing and say that A.J. Allmendinger is going to get it done this weekend coming up at the Roval. Taylor Burris and Zachary Mertis did not get in picks, so they just get whoever they get. Corey LaJoie.
They get Spire Motors. Oh, they're going to do Corey LaJoie and not Dillon? Yeah,
I'll give him Ty Dillon. Why not?
Okay, there you go.
And again, watch Ty actually do something, right? Knowing Taylor, Ty would end up doing something, be like, I told you, even though you didn't.
Yeah, right.
And NASCAR chef John Dix, you're up next, buddy.
Well, guys, Mr. Elliott was a road course king for a while till they got to the new car, and he hasn't done as good. But I think this weekend they've been running better. I think he's going to surprise everybody.
All right. Well, so Chase Elliott then for the NASCAR chef John Dix, and Bobby Dale Earnhardt also did not get a pick in this week. So with that, he also is going to get Ty Dillon to round out picks for the Charlotte Roval coming up here, Andy. And man, again, 4 races left until we crown a champion. It's coming down to the wire at this point.
Coming down to the end of everything, man. That's been a long season.
Long season is an understatement. But with that said here, folks, speaking of a long season, we have got to get ourselves out of here for another week of Burning Rubber Radio on the Tan Talk Radio Network, wingding.tv on your Roku, your Fire Stick, wherever streaming TV is found, and all of our other wonderful radio affiliates around the USA and the world. For Andy DeLay, NASCAR chef John Dix, Bobby Dale Earnhardt, Jeremy Taylor, Taylor Burris, Zachary Mertis, I am producer Wayne. We love you guys, and until next week, Burning Rubber, baby.
Burning Rubber, baby.
Burning Rubber Radio is a production of the Performance Motorsports Network in association with the White Lightning TV studios in Statesville, North Carolina. This week's episode was produced by Wayne Owens. Remember to visit burningrubberradio.com for news, recipes, and more great content. Burning Rubber Radio may also be downloaded from our podcast site, pmn2.com, or from Spotify, iTunes, or Google Podcasts. The opinions expressed on this show are those of the hosts and guests and do not reflect those of the Performance Motorsports Network or the Scorpion Radio Group. Any use of the accounts or descriptions contained in this broadcast must be with the express written permission of the Performance Motorsports Network or the Scorpion Radio Group.